What's a story, amigos? This is Kino with some cool stories for today's story time.
Aliens are landing, and the whole town gets nervous in our first story, read by Michael Dorn.
Cheryl, it's not a barbecue, Mo said. Suddenly, a small hatch on the saucer opened, and out walked two visitors from outer space.
Also, an old classic about a hard-working red hen.
Once upon a time, a cat and a dog and a mouse and a little red hen lived together in a cozy little house.
And Tom Paxton will tell us what happens when an elephant is invited to the royal ball.
And Engelbert was dancing in the very nicest way.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, by the annual financial support from viewers like you, and by the National Endowment for Children's Educational Television.
Serious, Mara, serious. You don't believe me?
Well, I do. It's just that, I don't know.
Look, it's just like I told you. I was coming over here, and all of a sudden, there was this really strange noise. And I looked up, and there it was.
Okay. Tell me what it looked like.
Okay. It was like, it was like, It was like a giant yellow football. Yeah, that's right. And it was much brighter than that, though. It was as big as a car. No, a bus. No, a train. It was as big as a train, and it was flying right over the houses.
Oh, I get it. It was a big spaceship, huh?
It had to be. Right, guys? You see?
Kino.
They agree with me.
Well... Kino, what was that noise?
That's probably Michael. I hope.
Wait a minute. I thought you said he was coming over in a car. That didn't sound like a car to me.
She'll get it.
Hello. Are you Mara? I'm Michael.
Oh.
Michael, my main man.
Kino invited me here for the story time.
Oh, yes. Hi, Michael. Please come on in. Use the side door.
Thanks.
Boy, Mara, just wait till you hear Michael read. He is so smooth. And he told me he'd bring one of his favorite books with him.
Well, Kino, I just want to tell you, that really didn't sound like a car.
Well, maybe, just maybe, he was riding the yellow football spaceship that I saw on my way over here.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Is this where you do the reading?
Hey, yeah, we're right down there with my little buddies in the story circle. Hey, Michael, did you bring the book you told me about?
I sure did. Are you all ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Story. Sorry. But what's the book about, Michael?
Be patient, Kino. The story's about to begin, and then you'll see.
Oh, I can't wait. I just can't wait.
It's story time.
Now, this is a story about a flying saucer that lands in the yard of Shirley and Mo. Now, inside the spaceship are visitors from outer space. And do you know what the first thing they ask for? What?
The bathroom.
How did you know? Well, you're right. The first thing they asked for was the bathroom. Now, have you ever been on a long trip, and when you arrive, you want to use the bathroom? Yeah? Okay. Well, Mo was really scared of the visitors, but Shirley calmed him down a bit. Okay, now let's see what happens. Now, this story is called Company's Coming, and it was written by Arthur Yorings and illustrated by David Small. Now, on the day, Shirley had invited all of her relatives to dinner, and Mo, her husband, was pleasantly tinkering in the yard. A flying saucer quietly landed next to their tool shed. Now, Mo was surprised. "Shirley!" he yelled. Now, Shirley joined Mo on the patio. "Mo, you had to buy that barbecue. It's too big," she complained. "Cheryl, it's not a barbecue," Mo said. Suddenly, a small hatch on the saucer opened, and out walked two visitors from outer space. "Greetings." They spoke in English. "We come in peace. Do you have a bathroom?" Stunned, Shirley replied, "Down the hall and to the left." The foreigners nodded graciously and walked into the house. "How could you let them into our house?" Mo was upset. "Did you see those helmets? Those ray guns? They'll vaporize us." Mo was very upset. "Shush, they're coming," Shirley whispered. "Stay calm, be polite. Maybe we can make friends with them." "What a lovely house you have," the strangers commented. "What do you call this place?" "Belmore," Shirley politely answered. The visitors nodded. "We're from away, far away, and we have been traveling for years on our way to the next galaxy." "How about a sandwich? You must be hungry," Shirley nervously interrupted. "Would you like to stay for dinner?" "Gee," they replied, "we'd love to. We will return at 6 o'clock. The spacemen went back into their ship and flew off. Mo and Shirley ran into the house. "Are you crazy? Our cousins are coming tonight. Why did you invite them to dinner?" Mo asked. "They'll atomize us. Belmore, the whole Earth is doomed, I tell you." Mo was hysterical. Mo, take it easy. They look like nice boys," Shirley said. "Come, help me make the potato salad." But Mo had other thoughts. Saying he had to wash his hands, he went upstairs and called the FBI. The FBI called the Pentagon, and the Pentagon called the Army, the Air Force, and the Marines. At 5:45, the house was surrounded. Inside, the cousins sat, panicked. "Act natural," Shirley told her relatives. "Be nice, so they look a little different. I'm sure they're friendly," she said, as she served the appetizers. "Don't worry," Mo added. "If those aliens make one false move, they've had it. So relax." Mo heard a humming and ran to the window. "They're here," he yelled. The doorbell rang. Everyone froze. Cousin Etta fainted. "I'll get it," Shirley called. She went to the door. Hello, come right in." She greeted the men from outer space. They were carrying a box. "How about a drink? Some soda? Are you tired? It's getting late. If you leave now, you'll just miss the traffic." Mo tried to usher them out. "So, guys, what's new? Have you been to Venus yet? I hear it's hot in the summer," Cousin Sheldon, the loudmouth, asked. The spacemen sat. "Well, we're on our way to check out a new planet. Our population has grown so quickly that we must branch out and find new places to live. Know what I mean?" "Sure, we know what you mean," Mo blurted out. "An invasion. We're doomed," he whispered to Cousin Harriet. "Dinner," Shirley called. "Oh, please. Before dinner, we have something for you. It'll knock you out. The visitors presented their box. It's a bomb! It's gas! It's a laser! Eddie yelled and then fainted again. Soldiers burst into the house. Tanks pointed their guns. Shirley gingerly began to unwrap the gift. We weren't sure if you had one of these, the men started to say. Shirley interrupted. It's a... Shirley continued. It's a... The cousins were paralyzed. It's a... Mo was sweating from head to foot. Oh! Shirley blurted. Etta, Mo, and Sheldon fainted. It's a blender! And we don't even have one. We thought you'd like it. And it was on sale. The spaceman beamed. Shirley went over and kissed them both. Let's eat, she said. Luckily, Shirley had made enough extra spaghetti and meatballs. The cousins, the soldiers, the pilots, the Marines, the FBI men, everyone sat down and had a delicious meal, from soup to nuts.
Oh, that was great.
Hey, what a good story.
Boy, those guys must have been really scared. I mean, they had all those big guns and tanks and everything. But the little aliens were really nice. Although, they could have brought a skateboard instead of a blender.
Well, when you finally see those visitors in the big yellow football, maybe they'll have a skateboard for you.
Fat chance.
Hey, kids, how about another story?
Yeah!
Great.
Oh, Michael, could you please read this story right here? This one right here. It's my little sister's favorite, and she told me she'd be watching at home.
What's your sister's name?
Mariana, the little shrimp. I must have read this one to her 1,000,000 times.
I'll take it over.
Okay.
I really like this story. Do you know this story, Michael?
Of course I do. It's a classic. A story that's been around for a long time. It's called The Little Red Hen. And this version was written and illustrated by Paul Galdon. Once upon a time, a cat and a dog and a mouse and a little red hen lived together in a cozy little house. The cat liked to sleep all day on the couch. The dog liked to nap all day on the sunny back porch. And the mouse liked to snooze all day in the warm chair by the fireplace. So, the little red hen had to do all the housework. She cooked the meals and washed the dishes and made the beds. She swept the floor and washed the windows and mended the clothes. She raked the leaves and mowed the grass and hoed the garden. One day when she was hoeing the garden, she found some grains of wheat. Who will plant this wheat? Cried the little red hen. Not I, said the cat. Not I, said the dog. Not I, said the mouse. Then I will, said the little red hen. And she did. Each morning, the little red hen watered the wheat and pulled the weeds. Soon the wheat pushed through the ground and began to grow tall. When the wheat was ripe, the little red hen asked, "Who will cut this wheat?" Not I, said the cat. Not I, said the dog. Not I, said the mouse. Then I will, said the little red hen. And she did. Now, when the wheat was all cut, the little red hen asked, "Now, who will take this wheat to the mill to be ground into flour?" Not I, said the cat. Not I, said the dog. said the mouse. Then I will, said the little red hen. And she did. The little red hen returned from the mill carrying a small bag of white flour. Who will make a cake from this fine white flour? Asked the little red hen.
Not I, said the cat.
Not I, said the dog.
Not I, said the mouse.
Then I will, said the little red hen. And she did.
Boy.
She gathered sticks and made a fire in the stove. Then she took milk and sugar and eggs and butter and mixed them together in a big bowl with a fine white flour. And when the oven was hot, she poured the cake batter into a shining pan and put it in the oven. Oh. Soon, a delicious smell filled the cozy little house. The cat got off the soft couch and strolled into the kitchen. The dog got up from the sunny back porch and came into the kitchen. The mouse jumped down from his warm chair and scampered into the kitchen. The little red hen was just taking a beautiful cake out of the oven. Who will eat this cake? Asked the little red hen. I will, cried the cat. I will, cried the dog. I will, cried the mouse. But the little red hen said, all by myself. I planted the wheat. I tended the wheat. I cut the wheat. I took the wheat to the mill to be ground into flour. All by myself, I gathered the sticks. I built the fire. I mixed the cake. And all by myself, I'm going to eat it. And so she did. To the very last crumb. After that, whenever there was work to be done, the little red hen had 3 very eager helpers.
That was wonderful.
What a good story.
Now, can anyone tell me what the story is trying to show us? I mean, the lesson of the story.
I have an idea. Farm work is tough work?
Well,
No.
it wasn't tough for all the animals in the story. Listen, why didn't the hen share her cake? Christina?
Because the cat and the dog and the mouse didn't help her.
Right, right.
Yeah. I guess if you want to eat the cake, you have to do the work, huh, Michael?
That's right. That's what the story is trying to show us. It's the moral of the story, the lesson it teaches you. You know what? Mara invited another reading buddy here, so here you go, Tom.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Michael. That was a wonderful story. Michael and all my special friends, I would like you to meet Tom Paxton. And
Tom.
he wrote a book about a dancing elephant, and just maybe he'll read it for us.
You wrote a book? Gee, what's it called? Did you also draw the pictures? And will you read it to us? And how come you have a guitar? And will you read your book to us, huh? Please, please, please.
Well, that's a lot of questions, and luckily I have the answers. Let's see, one at a time. Yes, I wrote a book. It's called Engelbert the Elephant.
Wow.
No, I didn't draw the pictures. Stephen Kellogg did. And I carry a guitar because I'm also a musician, and no, I won't read it to you.
You won't? He won't?
I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. Of course I'll read it to you. Okay. Do you know how sometimes we feel a little uncomfortable when we go someplace for the first time? We're a little nervous about being someplace where we're not sure we belong?
Sure.
Well, that's kind of the way Engelbert the elephant felt. So, let's see what Engelbert has to say. This is the story of Engelbert the elephant. All right, you ready?
Yes.
To relieve her royal boredom, the queen announced the dance. Invitations were delivered, and it happened quite by chance, through an oversight of someone's, whose it was I can't recall. Engelbert the elephant was invited to the ball. Such excitement in the jungle, such a holy hullabaloo, such a race to find a costume and to learn a step or two. You could feel the jungle shaking, and I'm sure it's shaking yet, while Engelbert was learning how to dance the minuet. The village lamps were lighted, the sun was going down, when shrieks of fear and frantic cries were heard across the town. An elephant is coming! Call the army, rouse the guards. The troops surrounded Engelbert outside the palace yard. The officers in chorus cried, "You'll have to leave this place. There'll be no riffraff at the ball by order of Her Grace." But Engelbert astounded them by pulling from his vest the document that proved he was the royal couple's guest. So the soldiers formed an escort and they led him to the ball, where the orchestra stopped playing and a hush went through the hall. Though the king and queen were speechless, and I'm sure they're speechless now, Engelbert the elephant made a very lovely bow. "How shocking!" cried a duchess. "It's a scandal," humphed an earl. "That horrid beast will trample us," exclaimed a foolish girl. Then panic seized the courtiers. The banquet was upset. If it wasn't for Her Majesty, they'd all be running yet. "Stop at once," Her Grace commanded. The courtiers froze, and then the queen advanced toward Engelbert, who bowed to her again. Then the queen began to smile, and the band began to play. And Engelbert was dancing in the very nicest way. The ladies were delighted at the way he turned and spun. And before the night was over, he had danced with everyone. When they all sat down to dinner, neatly rescued from the floor, Engelbert just nibbled, though he dreamed of eating more.
I bet he would.
Yes, he's an elephant after all. When the final dance was called for, such a sight you've never seen, for the elephant was chosen as a partner of the queen. Now, when the ball was over, though the hour was very late, the guests all followed Engelbert outside the village gate. His jungle friends were waiting there. The band began to play, and the frolicking that followed is still talked about today.
That was terrific.
You know what, boys and girls? Engelbert the elephant is also a song. Would you like to hear the song?
Yes! Gee, that sounds great. Boy, we're really humming now.
When the king and queen decided they would have a formal dance, invitations were delivered, and it happened quite by chance. Through an oversight of someone's whose it was, I can't recall, Engelbert the elephant was invited to the ball. Such excitement in the jungle, such a holy hullabaloo, such a race to find a costume and to learn a step or two. You could feel the jungle shaking, and I'm sure it's shaking it, while Engelbert was learning how to dance the minuet. All the palace lamps were lighted as the sun was going down, and the music of the orchestra was heard across the town. The dance was just beginning when there came a mighty roar. "Your Highness, there's an elephant, and he's standing by the door." So the guard turned out from everywhere, and they came from every place to where Engelbert was standing with a smile upon his face. He was dressed in latest fashion, on his trunk he wore a ring. He presented his invitation with the seal of the king. So the soldiers formed an escort and they led him to the ball, where the orchestra stopped playing and a hush went through the hall. Though the king and queen were speechless, and I'm sure they're speechless now, Engelbert the elephant made a very lovely bow. Then the queen began to smile at him and the band began to play, and Engelbert was dancing in the very nicest way. The ladies were delighted at the way he turned and spun, and before the night was over he had danced with everyone. When they sat down to dinner, Engelbert sat on the floor. He nibbled most politely, though he really wanted more. When the final dance was called, for such a sight you've never seen, for it was by the royal command he danced it with the Queen. And when the ball was over and the guests began to go, they escorted him from the city gates and he gave him quite a show. For the band had come along with them and the band began to play. The dance they did along the road is talked about today. Yes, they talk about the dancing. You know they're talking yet of how Engelbert the elephant performed the minuet.
See, Tom, did you say you wrote the book and then you made up the song? Or was it the other way around?
Well, actually, Kino, I wrote the song first and then it became a book.
Well, thank you so much, Tom and Michael. Please drop by any time to share your stories or your songs.
Okay.
Kino, did you bring any books for our friends at home to enjoy?
Oh, gee, no. I left the house in a big hurry.
Oh, well, don't worry. I have one. This is a new version of a classic story. It's called The Frog Prince Continued, and it's by John Cheska.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he also have something to do with a book called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs?
Yes, The True Story of the Three Little Pigs.
Yeah.
Written by A. Wolf. If you can imagine a wolf writing stories.
A. Wolf.
Anyway, please come back soon for our next story time. And until then, keep a story in your heart. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Adios, amigos.
Thank you for coming.
Today's Storytime books are Company's Coming by Arthur Yorinks, illustrated by David Small. The Little Red Hen by Paul Galdone. Engelbert the Elephant, written by Tom Paxton, illustrated by Stephen Kellogg. The Frog Prince Continued, story by John Cheska, paintings by Steve Johnson. And The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolf, as told to John Cheska, illustrated by Lane Smith. You can find these and other books at your local library.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bain, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, by the annual financial support from viewers like you, and by the National Endowment for Children's Educational Television. Storytime is a production of KCET Los Angeles.